Akintoye wasted no time. He prepared his weapon, sharpened his blade, and gathered his armor, and strapped it to his body. As night fell, he set towards the valley, his mind focused on the battle ahead. When he reached the edge of the valley, Ogundele's army were already there, setting up camp for the night. Fire burned in the darkness, and the sound of laughter and shouting filled the air. Akintoye knew he had to act quickly. He could not fight them all at once, but he could strike fear into their hearts. With the speed of a leopard, Akintoye moved through the shadows, taking out guards one by one. He left no trace, no sound, just the cold silence of death. By the time the night was over, 20 men had fallen, and Ogundele army was in chaos. Fear spread among the soldiers as they realized they were not alone. Whispers of a ghost, a spirit of the hills, began to circulate, but Akintoye's was no ghost. He was flesh and blood, a warrior who fought not for glory, but for his people. When dawn broke, Ogundele ordered his men to march to the villages, but they were met with a surprise. Standing alone at the entrance of the valley was Akintoye, his spears in his hands, his eyes blazing with determination. He stood tall and proud, blocking their paths. Ogundele laughed when he saw him. "You think you can stop me, old man? You are just one man. My army will crush you." Akintoye said nothing. He simply raised his spear and prepared for battle. The time for words was over. The battle that followed will be remembered for generations. Akintoye fought like a lion, his movements swift and precise. He killed enemy after enemy, his spear flashing in the sunlight, his sword cutting through the air. The soldiers of Ogundele, though many could not match his skills, they attacked in waves, but each time Akintoye stood his ground, refusing to back down. But he was only one man, and the enemy was many. His body grew tired, his muscles ached, and blood flowed from cuts and wounds. Still he fought on, driven by the promise he had made to protect his people. With each stroke, he remembered his fallen commands. The warriors who had fought beside him in the past. He was the last of them, and he would not let their memories be dishonored. As the sun reached his highest point in the sky, Akintoye found himself face to face with Ogundele. The warlord was a giant of a man, his armor covered in spines, his eyes filled with malice. He swung a massive sword, aiming to crush Akintoye with a single blow. But Akintoye was quick, dodging the attack and stroking back with all his strength. The two clashed in a fair battle. Their weapons ringed out as they met in the air. Ogundele was strong, but Akintoye was faster. More skilled, he found an open and drove his spear into Ogundele's side, bringing the warlord to his knee. But before he could deliver the final blow, Ogundele's men surrounded him, attacking from all sides. Akintoye fought with everything he had, but he was outnumbered. Blow after blow rained down on him until he could fight no more. He fell to the ground, his body broken. Ogundele, wounded but alive, stood over him, a queer smile on his lips. "You fought well, warrior," Ogundele said, his voice filled with contempt. "But in the end, you are just a man, and men die." Akintoye looked up at Ogundele, his eyes clear and defiant. "A warrior's spirit never dies," he whispered. "As long as my people lives, I have won." With a final roar, Ogundele raised his sword to strike the killing blow. But before he could bring it down, a horn sounded in the distance. The villagers of Ile-Odua, inspired by Akintoye's bravery, had taken up arms. They rushed into the valley, armed with whatever they could find, determined to defend their home. Seeing this, Ogundele hesitated. His men, already weakened by the losses, began to panic. The sight of the villagers charging towards them was too much. They turned and fled, leaving their warlord behind. In that moment, Ogundele realized he had lost. Akintoye, even in death, had won the battle. With a final scream of rage, Ogundele raised his sword, but his strength was gone. He collapsed beside the warrior, defeated. The villagers found Akintoye's body laying in the valley, surrounded by the soldiers he had killed. They wept for the man who had given his life to protect them. They carried him back to the hills and buried him with honor, his weapon laid beside him. Word of Akintoye's last stand spread across the land, and the story became a legend. He was remembered as the last warrior of Ile-Odua, a man who fought not for power or glory, but for his people. His courage inspired generations, and the valley where he made his stand became sacred ground, a place where the spirit of the warrior still lived on. And so, the story of Akintoye the last warrior was passed down from parent to child, from elder to youth. A reminder that true strength comes not from the body, but from the heart of a warrior who never gave up, even in the face of impossible odds.